Hello, and thank you for joining us today. This is going to be a very short and brief, but it's a question that we get often. It's about whether or not you should have a will or a revocable trust. And of course, that's different for each individual and situation. But we'd like to talk to you a little bit today just about what the differences are and why you might want to consider one over the other. So first of all, who am I? My name is John Browning, and I am a principal of Guardian Rock Wealth. I worked on Wall Street for nearly 30 years, managing portfolios and learning from some of the very best minds on Wall Street. Now, my team and I serve only our clients. So there's no other person or entity in the way between ourselves and our clients. And we are fiduciary advisors, which means that we must only serve the best interests of our clients. We've focused on the science and the art of managing assets in the markets our entire careers. Frankly, we've made some mistakes, we've failed forward, and we have learned from the best. With physical offices in Hawaii, Illinois, and Colorado, we serve individuals and organizations across the United States and would love to show you how we do things a bit differently than most. Now let's just get right into the topic at hand. I know your time is valuable. Let me give you just two ideas on estate planning to consider. First of all, what is a will and why you might want to have one? This seems like a simple question with a simple answer, but do you really have it all figured out? The legal process behind a will is more complex than realized by many. A will directs who should receive property that is in your name only, without a designated beneficiary upon your death. Without a will, property may be distributed by the courts to your next of kin, regardless of what your wishes may have been. Jointly owned property passes directly to the surviving owners. So accounts like an IRA or a 401k with a named beneficiary go directly to that beneficiary, and anything in a trust, which we'll talk about in a minute, follows the trust terms. So it's one of the reasons that it is extremely important to make sure your 401k and other retirement assets have a named beneficiary on them. Many times we find that this has been neglected and there's nothing on file, which can make things very difficult in the event of a death in the family. So what's involved with a will? Well, with a will, you've got to go through the probate process, assuming you have enough assets, and this can be cumbersome. It can take up to 2 years to complete. The executor will need to deal with all the settling of all accounts, including credit cards, loans, and the assets involved. And it's a public process. So anyone who may think or suggest that they have a claim on those assets will be able to see that the probate is going on and will be able to potentially lay claim to those assets or simply hold up the process. And we've seen some of that happen. So what's a revocable trust and why might somebody consider that? Well, a revocable trust, and sometimes they're called living trusts, can reduce the expenses and delays of probate. And unlike an irrevocable trust, they can be altered. So they provide some flexibility, some of the same flexibility of a will with the power of a trust. So a trust is a legal structure providing certain protections for your assets. And one of the key benefits of a trust is being able to sidestep the probate process entirely, making it easier on your heirs to claim the assets that you want them to have and do with it what you want them to do. When a trust is created, you name a trustee. Often it's yourself and a successor trustee, and the job of the trustee is to manage the trust affairs. And again, that successor trustee is one who would manage the trust when you're unable to do so. So what's involved and why don't people think they want to get involved with a revocable trust? Well, the assets held in a revocable trust are essentially owned by the trust, despite the fact that you're the current beneficiary of those assets. So you can use them just like you normally would. and you have full control as the trustee, as you would normally name yourself as the first trustee. So the trustee, again, they can move around the assets, move them in and out of the trust, or even dissolve the trust and retake the assets. So it's a very flexible entity with which to work. And this is also in contrast to another type of trust called an irrevocable trust, which has its advantages, but also the disadvantage of the fact that it's irrevocable. And it's something that we'd love to chat with you about. It's something you might want to consider. There's some tax benefits to an irrevocable trust, but for the purposes of today, I just want to talk about that revocable trust. So what's involved with setting it up? And this is really why people tend not to do it, because they get intimidated by the process. Trusts cost a little bit more to establish than wills, and they do require more legwork. After the legal structure for a trust, all the assets have to be retitled in the name of the trust. And to the general public, a trust may seem like this big advanced tool for only the wealthy. The reality is that we're seeing more and more that trusts are foundational and they're a foundational estate planning tool, and they have a history of being an effective way to ensure that your wishes are carried out as you specify and can make things much, much easier for your heirs. So a little bit more about Guardian Rock. Our execution process is to employ the specific strategy that's best suited for each individual client, whether that's a will or a revocable or an irrevocable trust. And it doesn't just involve estate planning. It involves planning for right now, and we're all about building your best life and building your portfolio and financial plan to support your best life. We create personalized, detailed, flexible, comprehensive plans with clearly stated objectives from which to operate, review, and manage on a continual basis. And we utilize specialized investment strategies and vehicles in a strategic way that may decrease risk and potentially increase total return, all depending on what the investor wants, what their needs are, and risk tolerance. And we attempt to minimize costs, and this comes a lot from our experience on Wall Street, by leveraging long-standing industry relationships and our experience. The benefits of working with someone like Guardian Rock is we bring in the experts, those that have focused on things like the legal structure of an estate or a will. We bring those folks in to help you in that process, and we concentrate on mainly the planning and the investment process by taking out the middleman, especially taking out many of the high-cost products that you'll see in many portfolios. We focus on communication and connection, and we have decades of diverse experience working with some of the best minds on Wall Street. And we've managed billions of dollars in portfolio assets, and we call that the right kind of experience. Again, you'll get a comprehensive written roadmap and execution plan designed specifically to your values, your hopes, and dreams. And you'll get consistent execution and communication, full service offerings, which lead to a consistent, positive client experience. Now, how can you find out more about us and the estate planning and comprehensive financial plan? You can visit us at guardianrockwealth.com. You can fill out the form on the home page on the Contact Us tab. You can call us at 312-372-5000. You can ask specifically to speak to me. I'm happy to speak directly to you and explain how we do things a bit differently. And also, always ask us how you can receive our Amazon best-selling book, Build a Life, Not a Portfolio. Hope you've enjoyed today's quick presentation about whether or not you might want to consider a will or a revocable trust. And there's much, much more to come. And please stay tuned to Guardian Rock Wealth Facebook and LinkedIn page. And we will talk with you soon. Please feel free to reach out again at 312-372-5000. We hope you have a